Thanks, Aaron. Now to break down what all this rhetoric means in terms of concrete action, I'm joined by ABC News correspondent Jordana Miller. Jordana, a pleasure to have you with us. Now, let's begin with the threats from the Palestinian Authority. Is this simply hot air?
It appears, Tracy, that it is hot air. Many of us have spent the morning talking to Palestinian officials, Israeli officials, and it appears that this is just another one of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas's threats. Now, perhaps he made it with more oomph this time, a little more firmness, but in the end, it would be such a consequential decision to pull out of the Oslo peace accords. In fact, if he did that, the PA would no longer have any kind of legitimacy because it is that accord that created the Palestinian Authority. So this kind of decision, especially the security arrangements that would fall apart, remember, not just Israel, but the United States, the CIA works with the Palestinian police, trains them. I mean, we could see a major resurgence of terror in the West Bank. The PA could collapse. And it would really be the end of a kind of framework for a peace solution based on two states.
And speaking of that framework of a peace solution, we know that leading Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden is saying that Israel's threats to annex Judea and Samaria or the West Bank will choke off any hope of peace. Now, Israel likely won't move forward with the move without United States support. So how much pressure is Israel under if it wants to move ahead under the current administration?
Well, I think for those people in Israel who support the Trump vision for peace, the window is narrowing because, of course, the 2020 election in November is right around the corner. And Biden is already being very clear and signaling that he would not be interested in supporting a move like annexation. And remember, at this point, it is only Israel and the United States, the Trump administration, that thinks this would be a wise move. And it's worth pointing out, Tracy, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was just in Israel last week for a very short visit. And it appears that instead of coming here to push forward annexation, many credible reports coming out now that perhaps the United States wants to slow it down a little bit because they do see that it could be such a volatile move, right? You have Jordan's King Abdullah II saying it could lead to a major conflict, put the peace treaties with Amman and Cairo in jeopardy. I mean, is this something that the Trump administration wants to deal with when they have the COVID-19 pandemic and a terrible economy on their hands?
And really briefly, Jordana, on a completely different note, a Trump administration official is saying that Israel must be prepared to take concrete action and reduce its ties with China. How serious is this push, and what kind of a position does this leave Israel in?
Well, Israel is in kind of a, tough position between China and the United States. Of course, the most important ally for the state of Israel is the United States. But looking east, the Chinese have been, they are a source really of a lot of investment for some major infrastructure projects here in Israel, including in the port in Haifa in the north. The fear the United States has is that any kind of cooperation with China will open up China to espionage. And of course, given the very sensitive information that the United States shares with Israel, the White House doesn't want any of that falling into Chinese hands. I think Israel's going to be under increasing pressure to really cool off its bigger projects with the Chinese going forward.
All right, Jordana Miller, thank you so much for that analysis.
Thanks, Tracy.